once again, everybody. How's it hanging? How you doing out there? You know who it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by My Song of the Day. Hope everyone's having a good day. Thank you to all the returning listeners who are listening to this because you guys are the best. And for all you new listeners, welcome to the family. Welcome to the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 Today family. I've got one hell of a show for you today because we've got another band interview. What? You guys remember that band Total Eclipse that we interviewed a couple weeks back? The punk band from California? If you guys listen to it, we had a conversation with them and they brought this band Apollo 03, who they said was like their quote-unquote sister band from California. And of course, I started laughing because I had heard the name beforehand, and the week before we featured Total Eclipse as the Song of the Day choice, we were actually featuring Apollo 03. We had no idea that this was actually the case. It was just by sheer coincidence. So I have to have them on the podcast. And before we get into that, I got to do my shameless plugs. So if I actually had paid advertising, this is where it would go, but I don't. So pretty much I'm just going to tell you for all the My Song of the Day stuff. Follow us on Facebook. That's where you're going to find out about anything gets released, whether it's the Song of the Day, the YouTube videos, the podcast episodes, all that kind of stuff. Follow us on Twitter because what you're going to, or like us on Facebook, I say. Follow us on Twitter because we're going to talk to you guys all about music on there. Like us or follow us on Instagram because you're going to get to know the Song of the Day choice. We're going to engage with you on there. We do our IGTV videos, which is like a behind the scenes blog of what is currently going on. And we do our live streams every single Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central. And the reason for that is then you guys get an hour-long chance to talk with us, well, basically me. And we just get to talk music. You come with the questions, we bring the answers. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. We've got a plethora of album reviews that are going to be out, especially with what's coming up and what has already been released. I also do some full-on band reviews, and you can get some other, like, Kevin's takes. So you get my, like, top 10, I think I did top 10 Foo Fighters songs, my top 10 bands of all time, or my top 10 favorite bands, I should say. We've also done top 10 Hollywood Undead songs, and because I went to Mars Island, you get that whole entire Mars Island recap. So you can check that out on our YouTube channel. Links for all this stuff in the description on the podcast, so do not worry about that. We also have an Amazon Alexa skill, so if you're trying to listen to the Song of the Day choice, this is where you do it. And with our small band Saturday stuff, you can listen to the preview on Instagram as well, but we'll probably be doing the previews for the Song of the Day stuff going forward. On Instagram, but I just want to make sure licensing is correct on that. So basically with the Song of the Day feature, you enable the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today Alexa skill, and all you say is, "Hey Alexa, play my song of the day." Alexa will then say, "Playing your song of the day," and you get like a 5-second intro from this guy, aka yours truly, Kevin, and the song will play in its entirety. Once it's over, that's pretty much it. You can listen to it as many times as you want in that 24-hour period, and the next day you're going to get a brand new song. Always fresh. You're going to be able to rediscover old bands you once loved, discover new bands that you're going to love, find out about songs like, hey, I didn't know this song was by this band, but I love it. And then Small Band Saturdays, where you get to find out about all these smaller bands that are trying to make it big and get in the know with them before they get big. But I digress. Also, just one little extra thing for all you big alcohol drinkers out there, because this isn't necessarily something I'm getting paid for, but it's just something that I wanted to pay, like, kind of like, pay it forward for these guys, because these guys are awesome. Back when I was in college, back around 2015, I had this assignment where I was like, interview a local entrepreneur that makes $2 million or more. I'm like, shit, I don't know anybody like that. So I sent emails out to all the local microbreweries in the Twin Cities, and the only one that got back to me, the guy's name was Jim Watkins from Sociable Cider Works. And I was supposed to only have like a 30-minute conversation with him. I had about a 2-hour-long conversation with him. During my junior year, I bounced in between, seeing him and a couple of times, going to his cider brewery. But after I turned 21, I had some of his cider, and they're, I think it's called First Press. I believe it is. Yeah, I think it's First Press. But, oh my Lord, this is the best cider I ever had. And after 4 years of knowing, since this interview and since, talking to Jim, they're finally getting Sociable Cider Works cider in Wisconsin. And if you're from Wisconsin, if you're from the upper Midwest, so if you're from Minnesota, you probably already can see it. North Dakota, South Dakota, maybe Iowa. If you see Sociable Cider out there, give it a shot because I think it's the best cider out there. That is actually just a shameless plug that I just put in there myself. I'm not getting paid for that one. I'm just going to say that's some good stuff. Alrighty, now enough of the shameless plugs, enough of the crap. Let's actually get out with the show, Kevin. Get out with the goddamn show! No, that's just me yelling off mic. Alrighty, but we've got an interview to do. Do we? Yes, we do. So I mentioned it earlier. The band is called Apollo 03. They're a punk rock band out of California. And shall we give them a call? Let's give these guys a call and let's talk some good old music with them. Here we go. Hopefully this works. Okay, so at least we can hear the phone ringing. If they don't pick up, I'll be disappointed. Second ring makes me nervous.
Hello?
Hey, is this the guys from Apollo 03?
Yes, yeah, this is us.
Hell yeah! Woo! You guys didn't, get the first one of, actually, I've never had one yet where I've called someone and they never answered on the first call, so keeping the train going. Hell yeah!
Woo!
I love the energy, guys. Alrighty, well, let's just get started out with, because you got everyone there. Introduce yourselves. Every one of you, say exactly what your name is, what part of the band you're in, like what instrument you play, and just a little something about Apollo 03. Let's hear it.
All right, let's start with you, Mr. Bassist.
All right, my name's Gabriel. I am the bassist. Started the band out how I met Alex, which is he created the band. I met him in college. It was my first semester, and I was like mad with anxiety, and I needed friends because I had nobody to talk to. And he was actually wearing a jacket, and it had a giant Ramones patch on the back. And I was like, that's a cool patch. I was like, go talk to him. So I ended up talking to him, and that's how we met. So it was pretty cool.
All right, Jerry.
I'm Jerry. I'm the professional triangle player. I'm trying to...
Wait. Did you say professional triangle player?
Yeah, it's because, it's a different story for a different day.
We'll get into that a little bit later. But keep going.
Nah, I'm just messing around. I'm the rhythm guitarist for Apollo 3. And the way I met Alex is through Gabe's, actually. Me and Gabe's were actually in a different band that broke up, sadly. But it's okay. And he was in the band with Alex for a while, and then I just needed to, play music really bad. So I was like, yo, is there any spots open? And ironically enough, there was for drumming. I never drummed before, but I was like, fuck, I need to play music. So I was like, let me just try out. And Alex gave me a shot. I bombed it. It was garbage, but he saw me play guitar, and he's like, you know what? What if you're the backup guitarist? And I'm like, I'm down. So then I stuck.
Very nice. But you bombed it. You bombed the initial audition.
Yeah. Instead of bringing sticks, I brought 2 fish, and I was like, oh, these aren't sticks. And he was like, no, man. And I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not a drummer.
Well, that's one way to actually, just kind of get noticed. It's like, well, what the hell? It's like, you remember this guy that didn't bring sticks, but he brought something completely random? Hey, why don't we give him a shot on a different instrument? And hey, it worked.
Pretty much, yeah.
Man. So then here's me. I'm Alex. I'm the one that created the band.
Whoa!
So I started this band back in college because I was pressured to do a song in a songwriting class that I was in. So I wrote a song. It was Psycho. That was the very first song we wrote. And, I was looking for members to play in the band so I can, play it for a grade for citrus or citrus. So yeah, then that's when I met him, Mr. Gabe here. This came out of nowhere. And yeah, we found a drummer that was, in there. He was doing classes as well. And then we pulled up a little band thing, and yeah, it's kind of how it turned out. And then I wanted to continue on, but sadly the drummer couldn't play with us. So we had to look around for a long time to find someone.
A lot of drummers.
We went through so many drummers. But that's the struggle.
Yeah.
That's a struggle of trying to make a band.
Just trying to piece it all together. I mean, that's always going to be a struggle. But once you get that perfect formula and you get everyone in there and the chemistry works, you got something special.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But, after going through college and everything. I ended up finding some people to play, some kind of like chickened out because of the shows we had. And then I eventually asked my brother, he's like 38 years old, to fill in.
Did you
it was
do
kind
it?
of fun, you know.
Shout out to Dennis, man.
Yeah, shout out to my brother Dennis
Insane
for
drummer.
helping us, you know.
Badass fucking drummer.
And good luck on him being a father now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's had a kid, you know. He's a father now, so all the best of luck to him.
Well, first off, to your brother Dennis, congrats and all the best to him. I mean, we'll never get a chance to meet him, but still, if he listens to this, congrats, man.
Yeah.
Alrighty, is there anybody else there, or is it just you three guys?
It's just us three.
Main,
The main three, pretty much.
main
of the
trio.
band.
All right, get the main trio. That is perfect. Alrighty, I kind of want to start out with something because when you were talking about kind of forming the band, and when you're talking about you kind of formed it in college, where did you guys go to college?
We actually me and Gabe, because Jerry didn't go to college, but me
I'm
and
not
Gabe
smart
went
enough for
to.
college.
But me and Gabe go to Citrus College.
Citrus College?
Yep.
Yeah.
Where is
Citrus
that?
College.
Up here in
It's
Cali.
in Glendora.
Glendora. It's in the Glendora up there where the mountains are.
It's pretty much right next to Azusa Pacific University.
Yeah, they're both side by side.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to get a little bit of like more of a geographical layout of where that is in my head. Because I had no idea.
No, it was fine.
I mean, you're talking to a guy who went to school where, I mean, I walked to class when it was like negative 20, negative 30 degrees outside.
Oh, damn.
That's Minnesota for you guys. All right, but Gabe, specifically for you, because you're talking about how when you were in college, you kind of when you joined Alex, joined the band. So they kind of joined it. You said you really weren't like getting along with people and didn't really have many friends. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, I just didn't really talk to much people. I would always distance myself. You know, I kind of just like paid attention to my work. Didn't really talk to much people. You know, I just paid attention to what was going on like immediately in my life per se. So like mainly just like school and getting my work done. And it came to a point where I was like, I have no friends. I only had about like 3 or 4, and I was like, I need more people to talk to. You know, like it's college. I got to talk to someone. You know, and I saw Alex across like the quad, and I was like, I like the Ramones. He likes the Ramones. Maybe we'll be friends. And then yeah.
The most awkward, like, hey, you know.
It was really awkward. I just like walked up to him and was like, I like your patch. And I was just trying to like desperately make conversation. It was awkward at first, but like now we're just really tight.
Yeah, but that's usually how the best friendships end up starting out, is through the most awkward situations. I'm not gonna lie, because some of the best friendships I have, if I thought about the ways that I got in or started the friendships with those people, like the first time we ever met or talked with each other, just usually the circumstance around it is the most wackiest and crazy thing ever, because that just makes a good story, honestly.
Like how you were saying about chemistry, I feel like that's why the three of us like click so well. Because me and Gabe, we've always been best buds. But when I first met Alex, like I hardly talked to him because like it was the same situation. It was awkward. It was just like, I don't know you, he doesn't know me, and stuff like that. And then just one day, I just broke the ice and I was like, you want to hang out? And then we just hung out, and like he's just like me. He can talk about music for hours, and we were just like, oh, you like this band? Oh, I like that band too. You like that band? I like this band too. And like for like the whole day straight, we were just like talking about music, and then you know, it just then our friendship became like better, and then from then on, I guess the more shows we did, the more we hung out, we just all just clicked, and like it's awesome.
That's the way it's got to be, though, because if you're going to be in a band with a group of people and you don't have that chemistry, it's going to end up showing up within the sound that you're creating, and it can end up going awry real quickly.
Yeah. Definitely.
Which is never a good thing. But I want to jump into the fact that all three of you basically, it kind of sounded like the initial starting point or the initial spark that you all three of you had connected was the fact that you liked the Ramones.
Yeah,
pretty much.
pretty much that right there.
So then, when you guys were growing up, you know, younger, kind of getting your own taste in music, were the Ramones the main influence in your life, in music-wise, or were there other bands that kind of came into play?
I would say for me, one of my biggest favorite bands was just flat out Nirvana. That was my all-time favorite band. And then like later on, I started like going through like other music, and that's when I found Black Flag, and then I eventually found the Ramones, and the Ramones just blew me away, like instantly the minute I heard them. It's like a wave crashing at me.
Or what about you other guys?
I kind of had the same experience. For me, like I grew up in a very strict Mexican household, so all we heard was cumbias and rancheros and shit like that. So like I didn't know what punk was until my friend showed me Green Day, and I just like friggin' little 10-year-old me looking on YouTube, seeing American Idiot for the first time. I was like, holy shit, this exists in the world. This is my shit, you know, and like that's how I found out from that, and then. You know, I just keep searching because like I get that bug, you know, wanting to listen to more and more and more. And then I found, you know, like the Ramones and Dead Kennedys and Sex Pistols and stuff like that. And the more I branched out, the more I saw like I was more into heavier stuff like Metallica and Slayer and Cannibal Corpse and stuff like that. And that's usually like that was kind of my upbringing growing up.
For me, my musical taste, it's always been different. It's always been like hopping around. It's always like getting a little bit of everything. And growing up, my dad and my brother would always listen to like old school hip hop, like Ghetto Boys and Wu-Tang. And like I would always just listen to it. And they were also Mexican, so I can relate to Jerry. You know, we would always listen to like cumbias and stuff like that. And eventually, my cousin, he actually played Sublime by Santa Maria, and that was the song that made me realize I want to be in a band. Like we were just hanging out and he played that song and I was like, well, I want to be in a band. I know what I want to do with my life.
That spark, man. That spark, dude.
So I guess Sublime kind of like sparked everything for me.
Kind of like that. It's how you all three of you have like a little bit of a different way to go around it. And one of the people that I end up always watching their videos on YouTube is this guy, John. His channel's called ARTV. And he ended up growing up in like I think it was more of like a strict Christian household. But then much to match one of you guys, when he first heard Green Day and first heard American Idiot, it was just like the world was opened up to him. And I still remember when American Idiot came out for the first time. I think I was in like 4th grade. And that kind of just sparked something in me a little bit that wouldn't end up fully coming into fruition in a couple years later it would, but it was like one of the initial sparks that got it going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone knew that song though. It was the most popular. It might be the most popular punk rock song of the 2000s.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that like on radio when I was younger too. Man.
I mean, it was everywhere. You couldn't get away from it, but you didn't want to get away from it. It was much better than whatever they were playing on, you know, whatever like pop rock station, or not even pop rock, just whatever pop station was playing, because it was all, you know, ugh.
That's agreeable right there.
Yeah. Most definitely.
But the reason I kind of wanted to hear where your musical taste kind of began to get going, and when you guys were saying the fact that you all liked the Ramones and got into that, and that was one of the biggest sparks that kind of sparked the chemistry between the three of you, and the fact that all three of you are very good friends. When I was listening to your music, usually when I listen to music from bands that I'm interviewing on the podcast, I want to try and get a take of, you know, what kind of influences do they take. And when I was listening to your guys' stuff, I was really thinking of some more older style punk rock music. And the two bands I landed on with those influences, oddly enough, one was Black Flag and the other was the Ramones.
Oh, there we go.
Spot on, brother. Spot on.
Spot on.
Because the last band I had on here who actually mentioned your name on the podcast, Total Eclipse, I was trying to figure out them too, and I landed on the Dead Kennedys, and they just went ape crazy when I said that.
That's them.
I have to say, big shout out to Total Eclipse. I freaking love those guys. Those guys are the funnest people to gig with, to hang around with. Those guys are awesome.
I'd just like to say that their album too, like the little EP they put out, that's so much fun to listen to.
Damn,
I love that stuff.
How did you guys get to know them, actually?
We started like, it's been like a year now.
Yeah, it's been
like a year. We to be fair, like when we first started doing shows, we're looking at places we can play at besides like Chain Reaction and all that stuff.
Which is expensive.
Yeah, expensive ticket sales and all that crap. So we found this place called the Legacy Room, and it was in Chino. So it's like a 30-minute drive for us to get there. And then we booked a show there, and funny enough, our first gig was with Total.
Yep.
The first time we saw them. And it was Total and a bunch of other good bands. I can't remember the name, but
Petrus and stuff. Before they were called like
Petrus.
Experience, but yeah.
But we played with them, and I'm a very social, awkwardly guy. I'm a really awkward guy when it comes to meeting bands or anything for the first time. So I try to hit it off, but then it didn't work.
Yeah.
That show. So we did more shows at Legacy, and the more shows we did at Legacy, the more times we saw them. So we kind of like through shows we started talking with each other and ended up like being good friends with them. And it's kind of funny because compared to other bands, like other bands that go by for the shows we play at, this is like the one band we really like hit it off with. Like same interest in music, the same style, like just everything about it is just I like it.
Yeah, we kind of found like a little community out of Legacy Room. Like sadly it closed down, or we missed it like big time. But out of the Legacy Room, we kept meeting bands. Like some bands, like they were like too good to talk to us, so they would just brush us off. But some people, like Total Eclipse, for instance, they were just there to have fun and like just hang loose. And because of them, and then Petrus started forming. Shout out to Petrus; they're also a fun band to play with.
Really good.
Like we started making this big group of just like in a sense like our own version of the Big Four without being so big yet. But yeah, just like people like them is what's keeping this community out here alive and like what's making us grow. And yeah, we bounce our energy off of each other, and like we usually invite each other to shows if we can, or get on the same lineup because we love hanging out with each other. And yeah, it's just awesome.
Are you guys keeping that community, that punk rock community in California, much more tight knit? Just because I know you said that the room that you were playing in that closed down. Have you found a real other place to kind of call like your home when you're playing, or has it been something where you're a little bit more scattered around now?
We're scattered around now. Like we're kind of all doing our own thing. Like we try to meet up every whenever we can.
Mostly, like I guess say too, mostly is that backyard shows. Like we try to do backyard shows.
Yeah.
It does turn out pretty well. Like we had one with Total before. It was pretty, it was pretty good. But we try to find a place we can like really call our little home to play at. But
yeah, no place like Legacy Room.
Honestly, there's no place like Legacy Room. Like honestly, like that place right when it was closing down. Like I think everyone, like all the bands that played there were just like so devastated about that happening. So I remember I went there on the last day that the owner was going to be there because he went out of state, and I actually was able to buy an amp from him. So, I got something from Legacy still laying around here.
A little piece to carry on.
little piece from that place that we love so much.
Yeah, I remember tearing up the last show we had with them. I remember tearing up because I was trying to get all the merch I could from them because they were selling shirts and picks and stuff like that. And I remember what's it called? We wrote a song for them for the ending, like just specifically for Legacy Room to say goodbye. And I was just walking up to the merch table and I was gonna buy my stuff, but the host and the host's wife, they're like, no, here, like just take it. Like they just gave me a shirt, they gave me a pick, and like I was just like I was in shock because I was like I didn't think that like we meant that much to them, but they would tell us that they love our music and they love our energy and stuff like that, and it's just like you can't find that kind of home again, like Legacy Room.
And I could say too, like during the last song we played, which was that song we wrote for them, I remember like looking over to the left and just seeing one of them crying. Yeah. And I'm just like this is we wrote this for them, so
yeah, it was emotional, very emotional.
It was a very emotional night, but it was one of the best nights.
It was one of the best.
We also that night too, we played the Fox Theater also with Total.
Yeah,
we played with Total the Fox Theater that show, and then we all went down to Chino just to play that last show, Legacy.
That's honestly one hell of a story, and I absolutely love that story due to the fact that you found a place where you really could feel like home, and you ended up creating a bunch of great friendships and a much larger community off of that. Plus, when you're ending your show, you're ending your set, and you're making the owners cry because of how much you're showing your appreciation, how much that place meant to you. And just seeing that, that real impact that you had on them, that's something that you're never going to forget.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll never forget Legacy.
I mean,
that was awesome.
To this day, I still have, the stickers they gave out to us on my guitar.
All my guitars, all the stuff I play on show and everything we go, they all have Legacy Room stickers. All of them do. I like to keep a little piece of
where we came from.
Yeah, where we came from all that.
But who knows? Maybe one place down the line, maybe you find some place that is like that where you can call it your home, or maybe you just make a place. You never know.
Yeah, that's true.
That would be awesome.
That would be really nice if you could find another place like that.
Especially if you can find a place that no one's using, and all of a sudden make it your own. Maybe going with a couple other bands, couple other people to run it, and all of a sudden, boom, you basically have your own little concert hall that is not necessarily just yours, but it's now your home.
That's a dream right there. I hope down the line, like I really hope that we can do that. That's like been on my mind for like so many years.
Well, I'd say my hope for you guys is the same hope I have for Total Eclipse, where all of a sudden I see both of you guys, start, oh, you guys are playing in like Kentucky all of a sudden, or you guys are playing out east in Boston. All of a sudden I'm here in Milwaukee and I'm getting all these emails from the concert venues here, and all of a sudden I see that both of you guys are opening for I don't know, like let's just say, cause I'm trying to think of, because like I'm early September, I'm going to see Pennywise and Anti-Flag here in Milwaukee. If I see you guys opening for them, I'm just going to freak the fuck out.
Yes, I fucking love Pennywise.
It reminds me of like the upcoming day we have. We're going to see Black Flag.
Yeah.
Nice. I unfortunately, I don't think I have a chance to see Black Flag this year. Kind of like the punk rock I'm really seeing this year. It's Pennywise and Anti-Flag, and then I'm going to Riot Fest in Chicago one day. And I know there's a bunch of stuff going on there, but of course, the reason I'm going is I just want to go see Rise Against again. That's my reasoning. And I'm lucky that Slayer's playing on the same night, so.
Such good bands playing, man.
Fucking Slayer!
Slayer.
It'll probably be the only time I ever get to see Slayer, and I am not missing it, and I am not missing out on that mosh pit, because I from what I've heard, from what I've seen on video, it's absolutely insane. And well, if I get knocked out, if I get a concussion from it, so be it.
I remember freaking leaving that show when I saw them with Slayer, Behemoth, and Lamb of God. I left that show with a bloody shirt, busted lip, bruised back, and I was just like, it was the best fucking day.
It reminds me too of like when I saw Slipknot for the first time. It was like 3 years ago. Man, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I saw them and I saw them again with Slayer.
Yeah.
And my shirt was just completely torn off of my body.
Yeah, man, those pits are insane.
They get insane, but it's off the love of music. It's off the love of all that.
Ever since I started going to shows where I've been actually trying to just jump into the pit and see what happens, I don't know what it is, but when you get hit in the pit, you just get this adrenaline rush. And it's just something that you just feed off of, and it's just like, let's go, let's keep going. I don't care if I get knocked to the fucking floor. There was one time I went to go see, this was back in April, when I went to go see Motionless in White. I got hit in the neck, like literally like accidentally punched in the neck because some guy was just throwing his arms down. Same spot within 5 seconds. And I'm just kind of like, I had to take like a 10-second breather just to make sure my neck wasn't like completely jacked up. And then I jumped right back in because I'm like, I'm loving this. Come on. I'm trying to make a much bigger pit, but yeah, there was like maybe about 20 of us that were really trying.
It dies down, but then when the next song starts, when that drop hits, everybody, the whole floor just
ape shit.
Yeah, the whole floor just boom. It's like a freaking tidal wave of people.
Yeah.
That's why I can't wait to see Slayer, because I want to be a part of that. Just all of a sudden it drops, and then all of a sudden everyone just rushes right into the middle, and next thing you know, I mean, I'm flying everywhere. As long as I don't lose my shoes again, I'll be fine.
Again?
That's your shoes?
Yeah, I lost my shoes in March when I went to go see, because it was Under Oath, Skillet, and Breaking Benjamin were playing. Under Oath went on first, and they were kind of playing like a lighter set, and all of a sudden the last song they called for a pit right in the middle, and I grabbed onto some guy's, like, his collar. I'm like, I'm just following you to the pit, dude. Ran in there, I got hit right away, and both my shoes fell off. I was able to grab one, but then I was trying to grab the other, and I couldn't grab it, and then all of a sudden I looked up, and there goes my shoe absolutely flying in the air. I'm like, oh, shit. Well, I was out of the shoe for Skillet or Breaking Benjamin. Skillet starts, I forgot what song they played, but all of a sudden the pit got going again because everyone just wanted to go absolutely ape crazy in the pit. I couldn't go in because I'm like, I don't want to have my foot broken. Guy next to me gets hit in the face with something flying, and he's like, hey, dude, I found your shoe. So word of the wise, if you go into the pit, make sure your shoes are tied tight.
That's quite the
It
story.
reminds me of seeing like those shirts flying everywhere and like it's like bottles and shit flying everywhere. It's like, no, my water.
Yeah, and especially when you're in a pit, it's like, no, don't throw the water. We're gonna need that later.
Or someone opens it up and just like throws it everywhere and all the water gets everywhere. It's like, no.
It's like, no, we could have drank that, man. What were some like the craziest mosh pits you guys have ever been in?
Any of you have been, Gabe? Anything?
Crazy smosh pit. Let me think. Maybe let me see. Crazy smosh pit. I don't think I've ever been in any crazy ones, but I do have a couple funny ones, and I do have a bad mosh pit.
All right, let's hear them.
Let's hear this.
For the bad mosh pit, it was Plague Vendor of Mice and Men and Rise Against.
Okay, I gotta hear this. Let's go.
So I was with Jerry and my other buddy Joe, and I kept trying to go into the pit, but there were just like these like group of like big dudes, and I couldn't get around them. They would not let me budge through, and they're like twice my size, and I'm like, I can't get through this. You know, it's like there's just a wall. Like I can't. Like what do I do? And then eventually like the pit got like intense enough that they broke open, and like I rushed through, and when running through, I almost slip and fall because there's nothing but beer and sweat all over the floor. And like I couldn't even mosh without like falling, and I was like, I can't do this. Like this isn't fun.
It's like you're like going to the pit, you slip, and someone steps on your hand.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's what I was worried about. I was like, I don't get stepped on. Like,
I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
but-
most of the show. You got beer spilled on you.
yeah, it was like there was just beer all over the floor. I don't know how it happened, but it was a great show either way. Plague Vendor was awesome. Mice and Men was great. Rise Against was obviously like the main chorus. They were really good. Great show. A funny mosh pit that I had was I was watching Beartooth at the last Warped Tour.
oh my god.
Oh, okay. Keep going.
And I was moshing, and then this guy is crowd surfing, and he falls, and there's a little group of guys that I'm with. Like, I don't know them, they're just total strangers, but we're all, like, having a great time. Like, they were, like, my buddies for the show, and, like, we were just all having, like, our arms around each other and just headbanging. We were having a great time. It was a blast. Beartooth did amazing that show. And this guy comes in, he's crowd surfing, and he falls right in between us, and he loses his GoPro. Everyone, like, our group pushed everyone aside, and we're all helping him look for his GoPro. And like we're all like scrambling, like where the fuck is it? Like where is it? Where is it? And once we find it, like all of us start cheering, and like it was just, like we weren't cheering for the band, we were cheering for the GoPro. It was great, but that show was really like awesome. Like I love Beartooth. They did amazing that show. Like they played all my favorite songs. I almost lost my voice. It was an amazing show.
And speaking of the Warped Tour, like we all went to this last Warped Tour in Pomona, like the last little tour, and there's some really good shit. You know,
That was some really good shit.
I know honestly, I was looking forward to seeing Black Veil Brides. That's just me personally. I just wanted to see them really
Their
badly.
mic kept cutting out. That was sad.
But yeah, like when we saw him, any beer sacks mic kept cutting out, so that wasn't fun.
Oh, that's not
But,
good.
Yeah, it's not good at all. Especially trying to sing, he's like looking around like
You didn't even notice either.
he's like because he has no those monitors and he couldn't hear. So, but at the same time, that was a really good show.
Yeah, it was pretty fun regardless. It was nice seeing them.
It was nice. I remember like seeing the Used just like that because we were going to see other bands, but
Yeah, that's cool.
I thought the Used was really cool too.
The Used was really sick. Oh, we saw Necrogoblicon. Remember Necrogoblicon?
Oh, yeah.
Necrogoblicon was awesome. They were having some technical issues, so they only played about 2 songs, but they were like my favorite songs. And what's his name? John Goblicon, the goblin, the guy who dresses up as a goblin. It was funny because during the whole time that they were setting up and they were having like their audio issues and everything, behind like this little flag, we see him poking out, and he's looking at me and Jerry, and we're looking at him, and he just waves, and he's just like doing his little thing. Like, that guy, he has some insane energy. Honestly, he's a great hype man. Like I know he's doing some book signing not too long from here, but he's a great dude. If you ever have the chance, go see Necrogoblicon. Honestly.
All right, I'm gonna have to keep a lookout for him because I just got to make sure they come to Milwaukee and I can go see them. Just because it's like if I see him show up, I'm gonna be like, oh shit, gotta go see him. And especially if they come to our like the biggest the main concert venue that we have here. It's called the Rave, and that's usually where I see most of my shows, is because I think they have the best setup because it's just they've got 3 different stages, 3 different sizes of rooms, and there's really no actual seating. It's you're standing the whole entire time. So
Yeah.
that's always where the good mosh pits get going, because from what I
Oh, yeah,
heard,
definitely, especially you know.
from what I heard from this year was had to miss the show though, but Killswitch Engage was here. I think it was 3 months ago. So this was right before their new album dropped, and apparently because when I went to go see who was it? I went to go see Evanescence last month because Of Mice and Men was supposed to open for him, but then they just kind of dropped like the day of. And it was really hot in there, and I was talking to people about like who went to go see Killswitch, and they said, yeah, the whole entire ballroom floor was just one giant mosh pit.
Oh shit!
And I was pissed. I'm like, I wanted to be in that. So there's always shows where it's like I really wish I would have went there just because I really wanted to be in the pit, but it's usually like I've got something else going on that I can't get into the pit. It's like, ugh. But so far, pretty much every single show I've been to this year that there has been a pit, I've been like, get me the fuck over there. I'm getting in there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still waiting for the Black Flag one, though, in all honesty, because I know Black Flag goes crazy.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about that.
I'm really amped for like my last it's the last third of the year, because I can't wait to see what Pennywise and Anti-Flag do with their pit. I can't wait to see what Rise Against and Slayer do with theirs, because that's just going to be insane.
That's when I lost my shirt.
I'm trying to think of the other ones I've got up. Fever 333. I'm actually really excited to see what the hell happens with that one, because I just know they're ridiculous, or their music goes hard, and I just can't wait to see a bunch of punk rockers out there just going absolutely ape crazy.
It's always fun to see that. It's always fun.
And then I still got well, I'm gonna go see Disturbed, but that's gonna be me trying to get up like as close as I can to the front, because why not? Yeah, pretty much. And then Motions in White again, Ice Nine Kills, Crown the Empire Falling in Reverse, and then maybe that Beartooth I Prevail A Day to Remember trio. But I'm not sure on that one yet, because I just don't know.
Is that the self-help one?
I'm not sure, actually. I know it's one of the recent tours that they just announced, and it's going on through mid-September to mid-November.
Oh, sick. Yeah, because in October I'm gonna go see a festival of self-help is gonna be Beartooth, Monsters in White. I think I Prevail is going to be there. A whole bunch of Day to Remember is going to be there too. A whole bunch of other bands are going to be there.
Then that might be on that stop for this whole entire tour. But if they're going to be going there, you got to just enjoy the hell out of it, because that lineup right there just sounds insane.
Hell yeah! I've seen Motionless before and Beartooth, but I'm mostly excited for Day to Remember because I haven't seen them yet live, and I got to.
Same.
They sound really freaking good. Like goddamn. I love hearing them with their different changes in their music and everything. Yeah. Even the latest one, I like that shit. That shit was awesome.
I was really thrown off by that latest release by them, because I just couldn't get into the vibe that it was putting down. I'm too used to other stuff that they've done. It's just like, and I'm not the biggest A Day to Remember fan from the start, but it's just it was really different hearing. Because I can't remember the name of the song that they put out. But like the stuff I'm used to like from them, it's like anything off of like What Separates Me From You. Like that's what I'm thinking, like A Day to Remember. That's like I'm really kind of like latching in on.
That's like that one big album everybody knows.
and maybe a couple of things off of Common Courtesy. I gotta throw that in there.
Yeah, I had that acoustic song they have on Common Courtesy. That was a really nice song. I like it when they get like that, and when they get all experimental and everything, they change it up a bit.
Well, I mean, a band's gonna have to get experimental from time to time just to see if they can come up with something that works, and then just keep it fresh, because there is sometimes you don't want to always have that exact same sound through and through. You might want to stay consistent with it, but maybe experiment on a song here, maybe experiment on a song there, but always stick to stick to your roots and not do a complete 180 from where you started out, and then make something like Bring Me the Horizon's latest album.
Yeah, that was something.
Oh, that was yeah.
that like from where they started to where they are now was like a complete 180. Just go completely in the other direction and see what happens.
Yeah.
Instead of going the freaking 30 degrees when U-turn.
Yeah, they U-turned and went way back.
Reverse the car, go back.
they basically, it's like they're driving. They did that quick reverse 180 spin. Like some Vin Diesel shit.
Oh man, I really hope they get their sound back.
Yeah, I hope so too. I grew up on them. but you know, I don't really listen to them so much.
I'm not sure if they necessarily will, because I was looking at I made a couple of videos regarding like why they did it. Like I actually made a video just why they went the direction they did, and really looking at it. For one of the reasons, it seems rather ambitious, because what I saw was they want to bring more people that are in that pop scene and that really don't like rock music. They want to start easing them into it. So it's like, oh, if you like if you like our like latest album, you're gonna go to That's the Spirit, and it's gonna be a little bit more rock oriented, and then you're gonna keep just going further down the line until you're getting into deathcore. I don't think it's gonna work, but I gotta say, for Ali Sykes, that is incredibly ambitious, and I do like the idea, but the execution of it, I'm not a fan of.
Yeah,
same. Yeah, I highly agree with you on that.
Are you guys seeing any other shows the rest of the year that you guys haven't said yet? Because I know you guys were talking about the Beartooth, I Prevail, Day to Remember tour with that festival with Motionless in there. Any other ones that you guys are looking at?
I'm excited to see Sum 41 in October as well. I'm trying to get these two to go.
What? Wait. So someone's having to convince you to go see Sum 41. What the hell?
Let me just say right now, I freaking love Sum 41. But like, let me say like the money situation, getting tickets, like oh god.
Money wise,
for me at least at the moment, yeah. I was lucky enough to get
time.
Well, yeah, now I have time. But yeah, if I like had that money just like spend it on something right now, yeah. I could have easily spent it on the Sum 41 ticket. I would instantly. I'm lucky enough though to see my dad, my mom and dad, they like classic rock, you know. My dad is a huge like Black Sabbath fan, so it's kind of funny. And my mom is like the complete opposite. I was like, I went to see a show with my parents. We're gonna see Hearts, and then Joan Jett is opening.
Ooh,
Hearts. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that.
So that's really cool. I'm not gonna lie, because when you get to go see shows with your parents and you get to go see the music that they grew up on and that they really like, or that they are, you know, the biggest fans of, because that's usually the music that you started growing up on. You know, you're always listening to their stuff.
Yeah,
it can be a very interesting and actually rather cool experience.
I remember, like I just love seeing the concerts with my parents. Like my dad like has a very range. Like his range of music is like huge. Mm-hmm. Like he showed me Rage Against the Machine for the first time when I was younger.
Really?
And like he told me that he saw them open for U2 out of nowhere, because my mom likes U2. So my dad's like, it's like, okay, fine, let's go see U2. And then next thing you know, like I don't know where Tom Morello and the rest of the guys come out, and then I was like, holy shit, it's Rage.
That is absolutely awesome, because now your dad's all psyched for the fact that he got to see Rage Against the Machine and be like, oh my god, these guys are awesome. And your mom's sitting there like, well, at least U2 still has to play.
I know, but dad told me, he's like, okay, the show's over, let's go home. Like, no.
I'd have been the same way.
Thanks to my dad and my parents, you know, for allowing me to like listen to like all the music they have, and they give me like some CDs. Like I heard ELO from them as well, and I saw ELO a couple of months ago.
Really?
And ELO, yeah, I actually really enjoyed ELO.
Just speaking of ELO, just to kind of give you guys some weird context, that's one thing I never understood with ELO is they're actually my dad's favorite band of all time, but when I was a kid, we never listened to ELO. It made no sense to me when I found out, when I asked my dad who his favorite band was, he said ELO. I'm like, wait. But when we were younger, we listened to like Rush and Van Halen and ZZ Top. I'm like, I thought your favorite band was Van Halen. He's like, no, they're number 2. ZZ Top's number 3. I'm like, why have we listened to any ELO? Come on, man.
That's because what you didn't know was he's listening to ELO on the low, out like on his own time.
ELO on the low, right?
Yeah, until I found out about that, all of a sudden, like I go over back by my parents' house because my dad's got a bonfire pit that ever since I was a kid, always put out in the driveway, just start burning some wood, sit around, drink a good amount of beer, have a good time. He still has all these old cassette tapes that he recorded all this different stuff on back from like the 70s and the 80s. So he's got all like ELO, Van Halen, ZZ Top, Queen, Heart, Joan Jett, I mean, you name it, he's got something of it. Boston, just keep going. And like, there was one, he's like, yeah, just go change the tape. I'm like, well, we've listened to so much of this. I'm like, we have not listened to the ELO tape in I don't even think we ever listened to this. I popped it in, and my dad's like, "Oh, why are we listening to ELO?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? This is your favorite band, and you're not psyched that I picked this, dude."
It's funny too because my parents show me all the music that that they love since they were growing up and everything. And actually, funny thing too, because out of a lot of the bands I listen to, I do listen to Sonic Youth like quite a bit. I really enjoy Sonic Youth, and my dad was he came into my room and I was like listening to it, and then my dad's like nodding his head. He's like, "Who's that?" And he sounds pretty cool. And I got him into like Sonic Youth, like their first like few albums with Teenage Riot, 100%, all that stuff. It's kind of funny because him hearing this, it's like I didn't think you would like that. But hey, my dad likes rock. He's a big rock guy.
That's cool.
Have any of your other guys gotten your parents into certain bands that you really like, where it's just kind of like the same story, where it's like, oh, they like the sound of what you're listening to, and you tell them what it is, and they start listening to it out of nowhere, and now they're listening to your stuff. They're taking influence from you.
Oh, hell no.
It's like the other way around.
My parents are different. My parents think I'm some kind of devil worshiper. Like I'd be like
my grandma.
Funny story. Like for some reason for me, I find napping a dying fetus is the best nap you'll ever fucking have. Because you just blast beats and everything. You just like napping away, and then like I wake up from my nap and my mom comes in. She's like trying to throw holy water on me. Like, "Hey, are you okay? Do we need to take you somewhere? Like, like, what's going on?" Like she thought my eyes were gonna roll back and be like, and I'm trying to explain to them like, no, it's just music. I'm not gonna start sacrificing goats and shit, but they never believe that, and they're just like, oh, like he's into the devil and stuff like that. But yeah, I could never get my parents into it. It's still funny to get the reaction though.
I actually got my parents to like some of Nirvana, not all of Nirvana, but some of Nirvana.
My mom does too.
Yeah.
I showed my mom the album Bleach from Nirvana, and then she's like all over that.
My parents like Nevermind. They like that more than any other Nirvana, basically.
Wow.
Well, I mean, that pretty much is the same thing that's very consistent with a lot of people, where it's, if you tell them, well, what Nirvana album are you really gonna like? Do you like, or do you really listen? Everyone's like, never mind. Boom, done.
I honestly think that In Utero was one of my favorites.
Yeah, In Utero is like one of my favorite ones, next to the MTV Unplugged.
MTV Unplugged was really good too.
Those are like my two favorite ones too.
I remember when I first bought that DVD. I first bought the DVD of Unplugged. I was like, oh! Because I was younger. I'm like, hey, yeah, yeah.
It's like, take this, Mom and Dad. Look what I got.
And then I bought the Live and Loud from Best Buy, and I'm like, my mom was like, what is that? And she's like, okay. I guess. And then I watched it with my dad, and my dad's like, why is he breaking his guitar? And I'm like, well, that's what they did. All the drums are broken, and then the amps are pushed over, and then the whole stage like collapses and shit.
And just like,
They're so reckless. They're so reckless. Don't listen to them.
And then you probably ask, and then if they said that, you probably could ask them like, well, do you guys listen to The Who? And they'd probably be like, oh yeah, we listen to The Who. It's like, well, they completely destroyed every instrument they ever had. I mean, they made Keith Moon practically go deaf, but with an exploding drum kit.
I watched that video so many times, and like I asked myself why. Because man, that was explosive.
Well, why not? I mean, it's one of the most iconic scenes in early rock music history. Just Keith Moon's drum kit exploding, and just people just like, what's happening here?
I got the crowd goes silent. They're like, whoa, and then they start clapping again.
Yeah, because that was like what, in the late '60s that happened. I mean, no one was expecting. Everyone was expecting, whenever anytime a rock band came on like some late night talk show, they're always expecting them to be well dressed and just staying there with smiles on their faces, like the Beatles were when the Beatles first played.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that though. I mean, to be fair, like I enjoy all of that kind of music. Mm-hmm. I love, like I even say I love the Beatles too.
Yeah.
After owning Rubber Soul and Sgt. Pepper's, after hearing those, I love that. I'm very diverse, as you can tell.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to be, because one thing I've always enjoyed, like when talking music with people, it's especially with people on the podcast or with people within like the rock community that I've kind of created at this moment, is everyone kind of has like this base that they really like music off of, but it's like, oh, I like, maybe this band that's a lot older, but I'm just really into them. And That's just good stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, like listening to the Beatles, yeah, I still listen because I actually really like the White Album. Like the Rolling Stones, people always ask me sometimes people ask me like, what's the best Rolling Stones song, and everyone's expecting like Satisfaction. I'm like, no, it's Give Me Shelter. Are you kidding me?
Oh, hell yeah.
Give Me Shelter and Beast of Burden. Like, I just like all that stuff.
Yeah. I like
Start Me Up. All that stuff.
Yeah, because not only that, but that's kind of also like some of the stuff that you might have grown up on too, because even with like that was the stuff my mom was into. Was like my mom was a real big Beatles fan, so she's like, oh, listening to Paul McCartney's music a lot, listening to Wings, that kind of stuff. So I got into that too, not as much though, just because I ended up gravitating more towards the harder variety. Especially, once Guitar Hero came out and I started playing, so it's like, oh, I like this. Ooh, what's this band? It's called Slipknot. Ooh, let's start playing. Oh, before I forget. All right, what's the next song? Stricken by Disturbed. Okay, I'm loving this shit. It's like, stick a fork in me. I'm done.
And you find the best song on Guitar Hero.
Oh, yeah. That's how I got introduced to a good amount of these bands too, is just like playing Guitar Hero and just recognizing, like, that's how I first actually really heard Slipknot. That's how I first heard Disturbed. That's how I first like going through the bonus songs in Guitar Hero 3, and I landed on one that I kind of liked, that my brother really liked, and all of a sudden, next I'm starting to listen to it more and more. I'm getting into it, listening to more of their music, and that's how Rise Against came into my life.
And for me, it's like when I first heard I first heard Weezer. I play Guitar Hero because I haven't really heard Weezer as much.
Oh, with My Name Is Jonas?
Yeah, My Name Is Jonas. And then Sonic Youth, the same thing with Cool Thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, that's that whole game soundtrack, just all the songs in there is just, that's my jam. Like, that's just
Guitar Hero 3 is the best. Guitar Hero 3 is the best for me, personally.
Yeah, Guitar Hero 3, that's definitely number one up there.
I like Rock Band as well.
Yeah.
Like Gabe said, Gabe likes Rock Band a lot more.
Yeah. That's how I found out about AFI. Miss Murder was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then thanks to hearing that, I went back to their old catalog and got the Sunset.
Oh yeah.
The Black Whales and the Sunset. I love that shit. That's a banger.
Yeah.
Or I'm trying to think of some of the other bands, like when it came to Guitar Hero, that I end up locking in on because of it. I think Muse was one of them. Queens of the Stone Age. Just because when Guitar Hero 2 came out, like I really wasn't listening to much of the music I listen to now, so that's when I first heard Monkey Wrench by the Foo Fighters. And just like I was playing that all the time. I'm like, I got 100% this shit.
Don't wanna be a Monkey Wrench.
I was playing that for hours, just consistently, and all of a sudden, like I was just like, I can't get it at 100%, guys. What the hell?
I love Foo Fighters though. Dave Grohl is probably my biggest like anything. He's the biggest like person I look at. Yeah, like he's my biggest influence right there. I love Dave Grohl.
I don't care what anyone says, but I always think of Dave Grohl as the most talented and one of the most underrated musicians of all time.
Oh yeah, that's agreeable.
He doesn't get nearly enough credit for the fact that he was the drummer for Nirvana, which was arguably the biggest biggest band of the 90s. Not even just rock band, just biggest band of the 90s. And then the biggest rock band, I mean, commercially and honestly, just fan-wise, ever since then. Like, there's no one's ever since Nirvana, it's like, well, who has come close? It's honestly him and the Foo Fighters. And he's playing guitar, he's singing, he's still drumming for like Queens of the Stone Age at times. He's still doing crazy stuff with Tenacious D because it's Dave Grohl. He likes doing that crap. And he's got them crooked vultures. Like, this guy is all over the place, and he's good at everything. Give the man some credit, damn it.
I know, right?
And also, like, out of all of that, he's like the best frontman alive.
He's the nicest person you'll ever see, too.
He knows how to hype up a crowd.
I remember when I saw Foo Fighters, it was like a year ago. Like when he had his broken leg, he was in this there.
Yeah, and he was on his throne?
Yeah, when I first saw the throne, I was like, this is awesome. Like, that's actually pretty sick. And then, like, after watching him do that show, there was a person in the front row with a baby on his back and had a sign that said, "Sing Big Me." And then he sang acoustically to the baby, and I thought that was like the best thing I've ever seen. Good guy.
Have you ever seen the video of the Kiss guy with the Foo Fighters?
Yes, I seen that a few days ago actually, because I was like looking through my suggestions. I'm like, okay, it's on there. I thought it was pretty funny.
So the guy just goes up there, full on Kiss makeup, and just goes hard, and he's doing everything right, and all of a sudden, I love Dave at the end. It's like, no, and everyone's like, oh, that's a setup. You know, they planned this. He's like, we've never planned this, and that guy, he's the fucking best one ever.
I know, right?
That out of like my top bands that I like, my top 10 favorite bands of all time. There's two I still have to see, and they're the only one that I'll probably actually have the potential to go see, because I probably won't ever get to see the other one. Unfortunately, missed out on that chance. Shit. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's how it be, you know. That's how it be when you're trying to find like your favorite band playing at a show, you know. That's how it be. Sometimes it's like, oh, they're not coming around your area, and you're all like, please, just beg, please.
Yeah, I'm trying to see Phil Collins in Vegas. He's playing October something.
Oh, Phil Collins.
Yeah, Phil Collins is great. My mom was like a huge Phil Collins fan, and she introduced me to him. So like I was always like, recently actually, I've been listening to a lot more Phil Collins. He's been like, for Phil Collins, for me, he's a lot emotionally attached with his music. For me, how I feel it, and like he puts a lot of emotion in his music, and he's just really good. You know, I like his like pop stuff and everything. It's a little bit different from what I usually play and what I usually listen to, but he's definitely a good artist, hands down.
But if that's what you like, I mean, that's what you like. And if you want to go see it, you want to go see it, because we all have those bands, we all have those artists that just don't necessarily fit the exact mold of what you like, what we mostly like. But it's kind of like that. Oh, you know, this doesn't necessarily make sense that we like it, but we just do, and we like the music, and we have an emotional connection to it, and we stick with it.
Definitely. Yeah.
Most definitely.
I feel the same way with Jack White. Like that's a person I would love to see, especially after the White Stripes stuff that he put out. I'm a huge fan of the White Stripes. I love that shit. I can't wait to see him though. Whenever he comes around, I definitely want to see Jack White.
Have you ever seen Jack White though?
No, I never did. I've only seen like some videos.
Yeah, you got to go see Jack White. Okay, Jack White and Phil Collins. You guys got to go see him then.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, I will be very angry, and I will voice my displeasure on here.
All right, put on a notepad. Okay, better see.
Better see all of a sudden, like in like 3 months, it's like, yeah, you know, these guys from Apollo 3, they wanted to go see one of the guys wanted to go see Jack White, one guy wanted to go see Phil Collins, and they didn't. How dare they?
What the?
They didn't listen.
I warned them.
I warned them. Otherwise, you know, of course, it's going to be me voicing my displeasure, and it's end up going to be, you know, just completely satirical, because, you know, sometimes there's just circumstances that don't allow it. But I always think about this, if you have the chance, do it. And my always thought process is, think about, you know, 50 years in the future, and you're thinking about, it's like, you don't want to be thinking, man, I wish I would have gone to see Phil Collins when I had the chance, or I wish I would have seen Jack White when I had the chance. You're going to be thinking about, man, remember the time I saw Phil Collins, or remember the time I saw Jack White? That was fucking awesome.
I would kill to see Phil Collins, honestly. Like, Phil Collins is great. I love him.
Sadly, the bands I want to see, there's no way I can see them, because they're done. Like, I wish I can go back in time, and I wish I could see Motorhead or fucking Pantera in their prime.
Yeah.
That'd be my dream fucking show to see. Well, sadly, I can't.
Like for me too, it's like I know that. I actually don't know, because I've seen some videos of them playing live, but I don't know if it's like a for sure like thing. Like I would like to see the Germs, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe, and I probably wouldn't even say I want to see the Germs with the original singer before he passed away.
Yeah.
But you know, and like Nirvana, same thing.
Yeah,
Sonic
Nirvana,
Youth during the '90s, like man.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with like you with the Germs, because it's the one band I wanted to see that I probably never get the chance to is Linkin Park because it's without Chester.
Oh yeah.
During the Hybrid Theory and the Meteora era.
Oh, if it was during the Meteora era, or even like Minutes to Midnight, where you have Hybrid Theory and Meteora all mixed in there, and then you get stuff like Given Up and Bleed It Out. Jeez.
Oh,
Just the entire atmosphere around that would have been absolutely crazy. But of course, when Minutes to Midnight came out, I think I was like 12 or 13 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I have the CD still. Like I remember I got that CD from Walmart when I was younger. I didn't open it because at the time I didn't really listen to a lot of heavier stuff. I knew Linkin Park was a heavy band. You know, they're pretty crazy. They could be
Back in the day.
back in the day. So I remember I had it like and it's wrapping still, just hanging out on my desk. And then like later on, I was like, you know what, I'll pull it open. You know, let me take a listen to it. It's been a long time. And then I heard, I was like, this is awesome. Why didn't I open this up when I was younger?
Well, better you open it up when you did than never open it up at all.
That's true.
Because that would have
Hey,
sucked. I gotta ask you guys this question though, just kind of just thinking about Linkin Park right now, because I've seen this happen with a bunch of the shows I've been to, but there's a lot of people where it's like I've seen a lot more prominent, like maybe more popular people in the grand scheme of pop culture pass on, and kind of like their influence or their memory seems to just kind of be going by the wayside. But within the rock community, it's like it's the influence and memory of Chester Bennington is still heavily there. It's still alive. It's not going anywhere. I mean, when I went to go see Disturbed in March, they had this whole entire thing for their Hold On to Memory song, and they were showing a bunch of old pictures, like the band just kind of, you know, on tour. But then they were showing old pictures of the band with other musicians that have passed on. And when they showed Chester's picture, the whole entire arena just erupted.
Wow, he was a good singer. Like he was one of the best like singers I think that I ever heard. Like this guy can like screech for like a minute, and like he still has that voice to even continue singing. Like and giving up, you know, like that like what, like a 15-second scream.
Yeah.
And like, oh man, like I don't know how he was able to do that.
The power, man.
He's just a good singer, you know, good set of lungs, just practicing.
Well, when I think about it too, when it comes to just lead singers or lead vocalists within rock music, there's only a very select few that are just so distinctive and so unique that there is no way in hell that you could ever replace anything like them. And the three I always land on are Chester Bennington, David Draymond and Disturbed, and of course Freddie Mercury.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
That Freddie Mercury especially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of upset when I found out that they continued doing albums without Freddie.
Yeah,
They actually did.
Well,
like,
I haven't really listened to anything they've done since Freddie passed, just because it's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. And I remember I was watching a video. Well, speaking of like ARTV, like I watched the Rock Critic, and like Rocked. Like I watched them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Rocked. I don't remember who it was, but it was talking about how Freddie's last song. He didn't even complete the last song. They had Roger Taylor complete it. Mm-hmm. And it's like one of the biggest things is to hear. It's like, yeah, this is at that moment he couldn't finish.
That's great.
That's intense.
Well, I know if you look at some documentaries and stuff too about Freddie Mercury, like at the end of his life, he was trying to record as much music as he possibly could, so that, you know, even after he was gone, there's still going to be material of him that could be released to the public, released to the world, and people could still enjoy his music.
Kind of like a Prince, like even before, you know, I don't think Prince did more music when because you know that death came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But like him, he had like so much music, you know. Prince had so much music, and Michael Jackson also had like so much like music to do, and they released it later on, you know, as like a, you know,
like a post-mortem album.
Yeah.
Because I know Prince has one post-mortem album. I'm not sure if he has two. I know they have like more than enough material for it though.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because with Prince, you know, all that stuff, he was a songwriting like god.
Yeah.
He was able to write so much stuff.
I still remember when Prince died too, because I was actually living in Minneapolis at the time, and it was like the day he died. It was raining outside, and just the way the sun hit the sky the whole entire day, it actually looked like it was purple.
Wow.
And then I think it rained for like the next week.
Man, I remember. I also that kind of reminds me of when he was playing at the Super Bowl when it's just raining.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember that too.
That was pretty epic.
That was epic.
Well, one of my favorite things about that too
like
is what the Super Bowl 41 halftime show is. There's NFL Network has a video out on like a 15-minute thing on YouTube, and they're interviewing somebody right at the beginning. They're talking about how in the morning they told Prince like, it's raining out. Are you gonna be okay with this? And his response was, "Can you make it rain harder?"
Oh, yeah, I remember hearing that make it rain harder. And I also have to say about the dancers too, dancing in the rain and everything when it's like slippery.
Props.
Like, man, props to them too for.
Because
that
they
show
even said
going.
like that stage was incredibly slippery once it got wet with the material that they use, and the dancers with how high of heels they had. They were like the unsung heroes of that whole entire show because they did not mess up once.
Yeah.
I just love seeing
skill.
that.
And
Like, I haven't seen a Super Bowl like I actually felt excited for ever since seeing that Bruno Mars with Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like the Chili Peppers came out of nowhere on that one. I was so surprised when I saw that.
I've been trying to do something where it's like I've been trying to advocate for it's like everyone tries like, oh, who should be playing the halftime show? I'm like, well, let's get some rock bands in there because they're usually the ones that can bring a lot of the energy, and it's not going to be this overly produced show. And I keep saying, get the Foo Fighters in for a 15-minute set, but then I realized this past year, the day before the Super Bowl, they played a 3-hour set the night before, and I'm like, well, now they're not going to do the halftime show. This stinks.
Yeah.
Because Dave Grohl is that kind of guy too. He says like, I'm not done yet. I'm playing until the place literally tells me not to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dave Grohl would be the one to just keep going because he wants to give the fans the bang for their buck. I mean, even when he broke his leg, because he's like, yeah, I would have stopped, but we only were in the middle of our second song. There was no way I was gonna stop. It's like these people paid their hard-earned money to come see us. I was gonna give them what they wanted.
Yeah.
I like how the band kind of continued playing a little bit, some covers, and then when Dave Grohl came back,
It's like, all right, I'm back, guys. I'm back. My ankle's broken, but they even call out like the medic. He's like, he's gonna hold my ankle in place for the rest of the show, so don't mind him.
I like how he didn't meet again with him, and that was pretty cool that they actually talked to each other after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it was on. I think it was on some British talk show that happened.
Yeah, that's on YouTube, and it's kind of funny to say that, it's like, oh yeah, I'm the medic that held his leg in place while he was playing his guitar.
And Dave freaked out too. He's like, oh my God, I don't believe this.
Oh yeah, his reaction to when he seems like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was good. But the one thing when it comes to Super Bowl halftime shows, I doubt we're gonna really get anything, like we're not gonna get another performance like Prince, or we're not gonna get any more like real rock bands to show up and really bring a lot of energy there, because in order to get the audience to stay for the halftime show, they're gonna want to get a pop star that's gonna put on a production so that the kids are gonna want to stay for the music, but then the older people are like, oh, this is a cool looking show, let's go watch this. Then there's me, and probably all of us are just like, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go listen to the Foo Fighters for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Just tell me when it's over.
We'll take a piss.
I'm just gonna be in the bathroom for the rest of the film.
I'm gonna take my halftime shit. Just leave me be.
Yeah, I've been holding in for so long.
It's like I got my phone. We're good.
Just that's why I feel bad, and like I feel like that's why I kind of want this community out here and everywhere else, because I feel like punk rock and everything, metal and stuff like that should make a comeback, like real music, because like I feel like right now the airwaves and the radio is so oversaturated with like rap and hip hop and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I respect every artist, I respect every music genre, because it's just like everybody else, the passion of music, and whatever speaks to you. But I feel like for like the underclass, the nobodies and stuff like that, it was always punk and always like heavier kind of music that has more of a meaning to people. And like I kind of want like our little revolution out here, our little community, to keep expanding. Because I was talking to a guy out in Salt Lake, Utah. He reached out to me. His name is D Ians on Spotify. He makes his own music too, and he spoke out to me, and like I noticed that there's more people out there that think like me, and like they want to bring back that kind of music again, that kind of energy, that kind of voice. Because I feel like people are losing their voice by just following the same routine, like, oh, let's make money, let's fuck bitches and this and that. And it's like there's no real voice anymore. It's just like it's all about like style and how much money you got and how much of a badass you are, or whatever the case is. Yeah, it's all about clout. There we go. Thank you, Gabe. And it's not where's the people's voice? I feel like where's the music? Where's the passion? Where's all of that again? Like I want to bring that back.
I was also like, speaking of all that. I would even say that during my time when I was growing up as younger, I remember I was trying to get into like the rock and roll and everything, and then I remember like it's kind of funny to say. I remember like this one guy that I did not really like in high school, and he knows that I'm like playing guitar and trying to get better, and this asshole of a guy is all like, that shit's not going to be relevant in the next few years. It's all about the new rap and shit. And then I remember like putting my guitar down and telling him, at least I'm having fun with it, and at least it's a lot more better than all the shit you put out.
Nice. Well, I think
it's like
soul to it, man.
Yeah.
Well,
it's just true,
Well, the one thing that really has to happen is, and why hip hop has become like the most prominent music genre, well, that's on the airwaves today, is because of I think it's the culture that surrounds it, because younger people, so kids and their teenagers, younger kids, even younger adults like ourselves, it's a lot of people in that group really associate with the culture that hip hop has around it, and they really want to be a part of it because, well, again, that's what's cool at the time. But in order for, the music that we like to kind of get back into prominence, is they have to somehow hack that culture and become really relevant to a lot of people within that culture. And you don't want to end up having something where it's like, you're becoming, like, we don't consider like a rock band, but it's more like that pop rock that's there to sell records, even though, again, not going to, knock people for doing that, because it's the choices you make. And if that's where your musical aspirations lie is going to be making that sound, then hell, more power to you. But when it comes to that harder sound, that, that grittier sound that we really like, that you could potentially, get back in a culture, be prominent as rock was back in, say the 70s and the 80s, there's got to be a couple of bands that just end up hacking the culture and getting in there. And all of a sudden, then boom, a bunch of others will follow.
Yeah. And that's the main reason why we started, doing bands and everything, especially with like music that I wrote with these guys here. It's something that I really want to do, and I'm pretty sure that the more we put our work into it, the more better I feel we would be in the end with our stuff. Like, we satisfied that we wrote this, and
I feel like we can make it out there, honestly.
I feel like we could. I feel like if we really, really like put our minds to it and like really like
just grind and work so hard.
Just grind for grind shows and play our hardest for the people.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we could change their minds about especially if it's a person doesn't listen to rock. Maybe one day we just play a show, and then this guy will come up and be like, "Hey man, before now I like this rock stuff. You turn me around."
Start a new revolution.
Well, one thing one other thing you can do to kind of like aid in that is look at where people's attention is right now and see where that is. And one place that it is on social media, online. And that's kind of what my whole entire project with the My Song of the Day stuff, and with this podcast, and with all my YouTube, everything. It was always to create it started out for something for me to do, to have something of my own, because I always wanted something of my own to do. So all of a sudden I could be focused on one thing and then, make it as big as possible. But it always ended up being something where I wanted a place for people who like rock music, like myself. And, even I'll include metal in there as well, because I've featured a good amount of metal on my stuff as well, to come and just honestly feel like they have their opinion is always validated. Because if, say an album comes out and say I review it and I really like it, but someone says, "Oh shoot, I really hated that album," I'm not gonna get angry at you. I'm gonna ask you why you hated that album and listen, and I want to get that going, because all of a sudden then you're gonna end up getting a lot more of a perspective of what's going on in the world and what's going on in music. And I thought, if that happens, there's gonna be other bands that are gonna come, all of a sudden start looking at my page, and it's gonna be like, oh, this is what people are actually saying about it. And then all of a sudden they're saying, oh, this album sucked, and I say why, and then you actually see, like a nice little comment thread of the reasoning behind it. Or, I really like this album. Well, why'd you like it? See that comment thread again, and all of a sudden you're getting a little bit more of a honest opinion. I've always wanted that. It was like that honest opinion. I thought that was the way to go about it.
Oh yeah, that's always good too. Yeah. It's always good to hear everybody's honest opinion about a lot of things, especially when it comes to albums that like say one you like and then one other person doesn't like.
That.
It's more respect than anything like that.
Yeah, because the one thing is, like, I always try and understand exactly why certain bands, like, when they make certain shifts in music, like what Bring Me the Horizon did. It was, I made a video, again, like I said earlier, why they did that. One of my favorite bands, I used to love, I love a lot of their older stuff, but I really don't like anything of their newer stuff, is 30 Seconds to Mars, and trying to figure out why that shift happened, their music styling. Again, after really looking into it, it's like, I totally understand it. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm not going to, completely say, I'm like, I always say, I wish they would have kept continuing on in the way that they had been, with the music the way they were, instead of going the direction they did. However, I do understand the move they made, and it is, again, that is their decision. So, I'm not, I can't be like, oh, you guys really messed up, I hate you. It's not, it's not my place to really say that. Unless I really truly feel that way.
With exceptions.
Exceptions,
There's always exceptions to the rule. It's like the English language. There's the rule, then there's the exceptions to the rule.
Yep.
But I want to kind of also get into the little punk rock and rock scene that you guys have around. Is it something that's becoming more prominent, or is it something that's a little bit more niche and just kind of confined to just like a small group at the moment?
I would say that the little community that we're in, it's small. It's a very, very small group. Like, there's not really much to really say about it, too. It's like, it's a really small group, and all I want to do is just play the music we all loved as kids, just bring it up and, give it our little taste. And we're lucky enough to have just Total and a few other bands that it's kind of hard to
make some friends along the way.
Yeah, make some friends on the way, too. We can have a nice little community, do some shows.
Yeah, whether we make that revolution happen and bring back this kind of music or not, I mean, all I know is for sure is that, like, I just want to play with my bros here to the day I die. Like, playing live is the best adrenaline that I can get. Like, either we make it or not, I don't really care. Like, I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the music, and I'm in it for the chemistry with these guys. Like, playing live with them is the best. Yeah. Like, it's all I want to do. Even, like, I always told myself, even if I have to have, like, my own steady job, I'm still going to be playing live on the side, because it's just something I need to do with my life. I need to play my guitar. I need to, write music. I need to do something with that, because it's just my outlet. And if we do reach enough people where it brings back that fire, then hell yeah, more power to us. But if not, then, I still love rock and roll with a passion, and I'm still going to play it no matter what.
One thing that I've seen is that the community is there. It's just they're not as, when it comes to within the media and on social media in the grand scheme of things, it's just not as prevalent as other genres that you see. I mean, again, I go to shows all the time in Milwaukee, and it's just like I see in Chicago and sometimes Madison, Wisconsin as well. Trying to get up to Minneapolis for one or two, but it's every time I go there and I just see the amount of people that show up. They get the biggest crowds out of anybody when it comes to just when it comes to those certain stages, because it's just all of a sudden, we have like arena shows, and all of a sudden I'm like, well, let's take a look and see who sold out the arena. Oh, Disturbed did. Oh, but Shawn Mendes didn't. I'm like, well, that tells you something right there. People want to go see these. It's people want to go see these shows, these rock shows, these metal shows, but it's just like within the media, you're just not hearing about it. Even when I see shows at the Rave, usually when I talk to some of the people that work there, it's like, yeah, usually the people they always want to see come back are the rock music fans, and they always want to bring back the rock bands because they want to play. And I always ask them, is there one that doesn't necessarily fit that, where it's like they don't fit the genre, but you always want to see them come back and play? All the time at the Rave, they always laugh and just say, oh yeah, Tech Nine. No doubt. It made me mad this year because it was Tech Nine was playing. I'm like, oh, that'd be cool to go see. But in the ballroom upstairs, Seven Dust and In This Moment were playing. I'm like, well, you can tell where I'm going.
Yeah.
I was upstairs, but in between songs, you could not only could you hear it, but you could feel the bass. They were playing in the basement. We were about 3 floors up. We could feel it. But it's awesome. I see like the nicest people at these shows. It's everyone's friendly. Everyone's there to get along and just listen to the music. It's security wise, you don't ever really have any problems unless well, you think, tipping up the benches at Summerfest so more people have room to mosh is a problem, which we don't see. As long as you're holding up the benches, you're good.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's just, I see the community and I see the fans, and they're there. It's just that their voice isn't necessarily as strong as it once was, or is nowhere near as strong as pop music or hip hop is right now.
Oh yeah, I highly agree with that, and that's a sad reality of all that.
So that's where I was talking about, bands, if they want to bring, if you guys are trying to bring back, that the punk rock genre, just the rock genre, into more prominence, you're going to have a couple of bands that are going to have to hack that culture and become prevalent within pop culture themselves. And I think the biggest, the band that has the best shot of doing that at the moment right now is Fever 333. I think they have the best shot of pulling that off right now and starting it, but then you can't do it with just one. There's going to have to be others that follow behind them and, amp it, keep it going. And that's where you guys could come in and Total Eclipse could come in.
Oh yes, definitely. It's right there.
So it's just because of the size of your kind of like the size of your audience and the size of the show of you're playing right now. I know you're probably not at that Fever 333 level, but if they can, become this big, huge punk rock band in culture, and all of a sudden it's well, where's more to come from it? You guys can easily fill that void, and you guys could, take off from there, and Total Eclipse.
Oh yeah,
man,
that's a dream.
That's our biggest dream right there.
That's the plan.
We got to make sure that dream becomes reality, because if it don't, well, then I'm going to air my grievances on here again, but it's not going to be airing my grievances at you. It's going to be airing my grievances at the people who aren't listening. And I'll make sure I do it on December 23rd as well, because it's Festivus, and there is always the airing of grievances on that day. So I'll have it all planned out, ready to go. Actually, that's a great idea for a podcast. I'm doing that. This is the airing of grievances podcast. Let's go. I could easily have some fun with that, but then again, I could easily go completely off the rails at any given moment.
And it happens, happens to everybody.
But then I got a feeling all of a sudden I go off the rails, I'm going to say something's going to go viral, and hopefully it's for the best.
Hopefully.
Hopefully all of a sudden it's oh, people are saying crap about me, but all of a sudden I got 10,000 followers out of nowhere.
Ooh.
Community's growing, baby. Community's growing.
Slow and steady wins the race.
And then try and answer every single comment that comes through. I probably won't. I'll probably be able to only sleep 3 hours a night. I'm ready for this challenge. Let's go. Just get me some Red Bull or something, and well, I'll be good to go.
Some Red Bull, and there we go. All you need is just straight up Red Bull.
Straight caffeine all day. Who needs sleep anyways?
If
when you're dead.
If I were to take a mass amount of caffeine, if I just take one scoop of C4 pre-workout, I could be awake for 48 straight hours, no problem.
Jesus.
Damn.
My hands would be shaking. I don't know what it is. I just can't. Me and caffeine do not mix well together. Or maybe we really do mix well to where the littlest bit can get me going like crazy. But that's why I'm trying to stay away from it, because I don't want to, be awake for 48 straight hours. That's kind of tough. But if I have to do it, I'll do it. Sometimes it's got to be done.
Oh, yeah.
I do want to say, too, that for this whole community, and I just want to hear some more of what we're doing. I want to see more coming from Pomona and from everywhere. I just want to see that community that we're trying to get out. I would like to connect with every single one of these growing communities all over California, all over the U.S., anywhere, I just want us to kind of get together and bring it back. Bring back this whole entire genre.
Well, that'd be cool.
That is an awesome goal that I would really would want to do.
Well, it's going to have to be a collective effort, too. And I mean, if you guys want, I can maybe send you some names of some bands that you could connect with within different communities in different areas. Because I know I've talked to some bands from Florida, think 1 or 2 from Texas, and then some on the further up the East Coast as well. So, and all of a sudden,
That's not bad. Yeah.
and then you never know what might happen, because some of these bands are, they're playing more local shows right now to their area. But some of them are starting to really branch out a little bit more. Like I'm trying to think of some of them. Like I know this summer, the second band I ever interviewed, Kingdom Collapse, they're starting to branch out a little bit more. And then this other band, GFM, Gold, Frankincense, and Myrrh, they're actually branching out more. They've played in Germany a couple of times as well, and they're bouncing around across the United States at the same time too. So they might be a good one to really get to know and get in with. And all of a sudden, you could be kind of, oh, they're gonna play a show here, and they might, all of a sudden have like a really good opening gig for some band like Motionless in White, and all of a sudden, oh, take a look at Apollo 3, and all of a sudden you guys, are just kind of getting into the know. You're in the community, you're getting to know everybody, and next thing you know, you're good to go.
That's honestly what we're trying to go for, like just connect with people.
Especially with the album that we released, and we're just trying to get that out there as like fast as we can before it gets old. To make sure it's nice and fresh for everybody.
How were you putting it all out on? Because I know you have it on Spotify, but are you doing anything on social media to really get people to know about that album?
Just recently
we just kind of promoting it on the shows we've been playing at. I have it on Apple Music and iTunes.
Yeah.
Thanks to DistroKid, I was able to get it out on almost all the music platforms.
See, I would suggest maybe putting it out a couple of places, like in like Facebook ads or Instagram ads, just kind of like making it like a video or something with maybe one song that's, like a 30-second video or something, nothing too long, but like a little bit of like a preview in there so people can, listen to it and, run it against, like have it like your region be the United States and run it against people who like bands like Black Flag, the Ramones, Sex Pistols, Dead Kennedys, Anti-Flag, Pennywise, Against Me, Rise Against. Because then you're going to get people that are really into that, and all of a sudden, you might not see a lot of returns right away, but you're going to be able to get that exposure out there and get people to actually, listen to some of your music that you're playing. So find like the song on the album that has the best 30-second clip in there that you think amplifies exactly who you are. I mean, it's going to be hard to narrow it down to a 30-second clip, but find, do your best, and all of a sudden you might, get the attention of someone who, really works closely with let's say Anti-Flag, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, you guys got to check these guys out, and all of a sudden they listen to it and they want to come and listen more of your stuff, and they maybe want to do a little bit of a tour with you. I don't know, but that's one thing, just kind of get the exposure out there and get your name out there.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I remember I did do a promotion for Instagram just to like get our name out there. We got some people that that liked us and like follow us on Instagram and everything. So well, yeah, it gets more people to like hear about us, and it's working. Just even though it's not as fast, I mean it's not supposed to be that fast, because we're still fairly new.
Well, the thing is
but it's working.
If it's not growing at the rate you want to grow at, what you just have to figure out what it is and work harder and make that happen. Don't use it as a thing that kind of like be like, oh shit, it's not working the way I want it to. Be like, it's not working the way I want to. How the hell am I going to fix to make it work the way I want to? Instead of looking at it as an obstacle, look at it as an opportunity to completely blow everyone out of the water. Use it as that motivation. And now I'm starting to sound like a motivational speaker. And the dog's agreeing with me, whatever is barking in the background.
Yeah, it's my dogs. They're agreeing with you.
Well, to the dog, I want to say thank you.
Preach!
Yeah, but I was asking you to preach.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now I'm going to go in my preacher voice. Nah, anytime I go off on something like that, I usually just go with my normal voice and get a little bit more intense with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what I would suggest too, and I think that kind of one of the ways that you can kind of see where that would end up starting out is, even one thing is like Instagram influencer marketing, where it's you kind of, And I'll even use what we're doing for Small Band Saturday as kind of that same thing where it's like, okay, you know, finding someone that has some sort of a following, doesn't have to be the largest, doesn't have to be the smallest, just kind of has to be exactly what you're looking for. If you're looking to get the most amount of people, find someone who has like a rock music page that maybe has a lot more than I do. But if you're looking for something more concentrated, maybe something that I have at the moment, and then it's like, okay, can we maybe feature our music on this page somehow? And if all of a sudden you can get like a 30-second feature, a minute-long feature on Instagram, and then, you know, people that are following that page, you know, maybe have like 60,000 followers, we're scrolling through, and all of a sudden they hear it, you might get, you know, 100 followers off of that, and all of a sudden you got people that are listening to your music.
Yeah.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, it is actually.
Dropping knowledge on you guys. Woo!
I'm dropping the knowledge bomb right now.
I mean, I'm getting a lot of this from like a lot of like to try and grow this stuff, I listen to a lot of business podcasts and read good amount of business books. So
that's good.
I kind of like, this is what happened. This is what I do basically. I'm at my full-time job is I have my earbuds and I'm just like listening to this stuff all day.
That's actually really interesting. Listening to all that and then getting an idea of how to do things. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, because otherwise, I mean, I probably could have done this. You know, it's like, oh, you not looked at any stuff, not listened to any stuff, and tried it. And instead of being, you know, for Instagram right now, I'm almost at 2,200. I could have been at like 400 maybe.
Wow. Well, I mean, honestly, because of your little promotion, that's how I found out about you and in general. When I saw that you were doing this kind of stuff, I mean, I shot the message to Alex right away. I was like, dude, look at what's going on. Like he's supporting smaller bands. Like we have an outlet finally. That's why I appreciate, you know, your the thing you're doing here, because it's giving little bands like some kind of outlet to say something, you know.
It's been my best promotion so far, and and one of the things I started doing with it too was, because I always have, you know, for the smaller bands, that if they aren't affiliated with certain licensing companies, so it's like, you know, it's like, oh, just like ASCAP, BMI, or SCSAC, where it's like, you know, I properly pay royalties out to them if I make money off of it. It's like for the smaller ones, because a lot of them aren't that, I kind of made them up my own little waivers to have them sign to say, hey, you know, on this day I can, you know, use it. But what I've been doing with the smaller bands now is, because I want to get them more exposure, was taking like a 30-second chunk of the song that I picked for them, or that they sent me for the song of the day, and putting that, like, instead of just putting the album cover on Instagram as the post, it's a 30-second video where you can click on it and you can hear like a 30-second slice of the song, to help out with more exposure too. Because I mean, that's the one thing I thought, I'm like, how can I make this better, not only for myself but for the bands and for the fans? And I thought that's the best way to go about it, because then instead of just listening on the Alexa skill, it's like you can actually hear the preview here. And then and then it's like, oh, if you don't want to listen on the Alexa skill, oh, now all of a sudden you're going to go on Spotify, search up the band's name, and all of a sudden you can find the song and you can listen to the whole entire thing. It's whatever you want to do. But the fact of the matter is how can I make it as easy as possible for the listener to actually hear it? And once I started doing that, I actually got a good amount of positive feedback on the fact that we're doing that. So I'm like, yep, we're doing it.
Well, that's a good idea too. It's a awesome way to like show what we have, and what else there is more to the album.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily, you're not gonna get the whole thing. It's like you're gonna get a teaser of it, but it's, you know, a teaser is better than nothing.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. It is. It's way better.
I mean, at least get some like eyebrows raised, like, oh, what's this? What else can I? I want to hear the rest, you know.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's bing bang boom, you're set and ready to go. And I've been thinking about potentially running ads against them, but I'm not necessarily sure at this point. Again, it might be a whole licensing issue with Instagram. I'm not entirely sure on it. I got to do a lot more research on it, but if I can, all of a sudden it's going to be, you know, oh, we're doing this Small Band Saturday thing. Here's a 30-second clip of this one band, and then all of a sudden what I was explaining to you with all those like Facebook ads and Instagram ads and how to like what I was like kind of how I would do it. I could do the exact same thing. The thing is I just got to make sure that I'm legally able to do it, because I am using, you know, your band's music, and I want to make sure that if we're getting money from this, that ends up, you know, the royalties are being properly paid to you. That's That's always going on in my head too, because I don't want to, all of a sudden just like, oh, what are you paying us? It's like, if you make money, what are you going to, pay us in because it's our creative? Oh, we're paying in exposure. It's like, no, you actually made this and we're using it. If we're going to make something off of it, you deserve what you're justly due.
Yeah.
Which I think for a good amount of places, it's like, yeah, like kind of like with like using college football as an example or college sports, like, oh, but you get a free ride and everything. It's like, yeah, but how much money are they making off of you? It's like you're not really giving them like the full justice of what they actually deserve. And it's like, well, I don't want to be like that. I want to be known. As like, hey, if your music's gonna be featured on here, it's like, are we getting? Are they? If they make money off of it, are we being rightfully paid? Our royalties? Yeah, they're actually doing it right. Oh, cool. And then all of a sudden, boom, everyone wants to, come by me. just being honest. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, wrong. Yeah.
Smart. That's really smart.
It's kind of, I've thought about this. It's harder to grow initially that way, but it's not, this isn't a short-term thing. This is something I want to end up, by the time my goal is by the time I turn 25 to have this be, just like I could do this and make enough money for myself to all of a sudden, just be able to do this full time and not have a full time job. However, that's probably not going to happen by the time I turn 25. So I'm shooting for 26.
The next best thing.
You never know, though. Always got to keep that dream alive.
And that's one thing I've always thought about, too, is, and you guys might, maybe be able to take some value off of this and use this as well, where I always kind of try and set the bar really high for myself. Because it's like, say I don't hit it. Because like my one thing was I wanted to get this off the ground and be like super popular to the point where I was making enough money where I could do this just on my own, like do this full time for myself no matter what by the time I turn 25. But that's not going to happen at this point. But I always thought about this. Had I not set that goal for myself, maybe I wouldn't have created this at all.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like maybe spinning it towards you guys. It's like if you want to have like a set spot of where you want to be by the time you guys reach a certain year or a certain one of your birthdays. And all of a sudden it's like, well, you get to that point, you're like, dang, we didn't reach that. But instead of saying, dang, we didn't reach that, say, look at how far we've gotten since when we started that, that thought process. And maybe it's like, maybe you're like at a certain point, like 5 years down the line, you're thinking, we want to be, headlining shows. All of a sudden, 5 years down the line, you're like, well, dang, we're not, the headlining shows, but we're opening for big punk rock bands. Like, you're opening for Fever 333. I mean, are you guys really doing something wrong?
No.
It's like, you're doing something right there.
It's better than nothing.
Honestly, yeah.
And they just got to adjust it. It's like, well, then maybe 2 years after that, maybe we'll be headlining our own shows. That's the goal. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, all of a sudden you hit it. And you're like, hell yeah, we did it. Suck it. More knowledge. Woo! And, well, kind of some wacky inspiration there, too. But, I don't know. I'm just in a really good mood with this. You guys got me rolling. Alrighty, if you guys don't mind, I have one more question for you guys, and then I'll let you get back to whatever you're doing. Probably practicing, because you got a couple of the guys there, so... Or if you're doing something else, I don't know.
Oh, that's fine.
We're just gonna get drunk and party.
Shit, I wish I was out in California with you guys. I'd do the exact same thing. Fuck. But my last question for you guys is, and I kind of just was previewing that, but here it is. Given, let's say, 5 years from now, where do you want to be and where do you see yourselves?
In 5 years, where I would like to see this band, I would like to see us and the good friends of ours, Total, and a lot of other local bands come together and have a massive ass show and have the crowd going crazy. That's just what I would like to see. Selling out tickets, merch, anything, anything that makes the people happy and the band's happy.
5 years from now, I see us with Total, especially Total, because I fucking love those guys, and any other band that can make it on the bill, fucking in a van, touring all over the U.S. That's where I see us 5 years from now.
Pretty much same along the lines, but more than anything, 5 years from now, just hopefully it happens, but I want to have a good couple of professional like album releases. And one of my personal like goals, or one of my personal like stepping stones that I want to achieve, is I want to be on stage at the Forum. And where is it at? I forgot. Is it
Inglewood.
Yeah. I personally want to be on that stage. I forgot.
Even like being on stage at Reading Festival, or Reading Leeds, the Staples Center, or anywhere like that. Just having tours with the bands that we love to have with us.
Making those memories.
Making memories.
And seeing like Megadeth and Scorpions play there, just wanting to play at that, like, just wanting to step on the same stage that, like, like not necessarily my heroes, but like, like the people I look up to, the people like who influenced me, the people who kind of like made me who I am as a person today. I want to step on that same stage that they did.
Oh yeah, or the Greek. or the Greek, just anywhere where we can play and we won't get shut down.
Honestly, like just at a point in our lives where we can quit our day jobs and just be on the road and just do what we love to do every single day.
That's the dream right now.
That's where we'd like to be 5 years from now.
That's a dream. I absolutely love it, guys. But there is one thing that you will have to promise me, and because I think this would be absolutely insane if we could get this going. But you're gonna have to promise me this: if you or both you and Total end up having a show in Milwaukee, we get to do a live podcast with me, you guys, and them.
We all agree. That's a promise that we can't break right there.
Write that in stone.
I got some stone about like a little bit away from my desk, so I'm gonna need to like grab the little chisel, hammer. Got that all. We're gonna write it in there.
I'll tell you what. We'll do the podcast, and you get all access VIP behind the stage with us. Everything.
Yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! All right, now I'm jacked up.
Us too. That's a promise.
Well, it's gonna be on like recorded. It's gonna be out there. So
record us. Anything. We love that.
Perfect. Well, I really hope to see you guys in Milwaukee at some point, or if you guys show up in Chicago or Madison or maybe Minneapolis, if I can get up there. If you guys show up to any of those, and as long as I find out about it, I'll be like, oh fuck yeah, I'm going.
Message. When we're in Milwaukee, everything that we'll send messages. Don't worry.
Yes. Perfect.
The first one's gonna know. Hey, direct message too. Not like any of those, promoter stuff or anything. It's going to be literally from us saying, hey, we're coming to Milwaukee.
Get ready. Get your bags packed.
Get ready.
and then I'll end up making a post like, hey, everyone from like Milwaukee or Chicago or like, this like that Midwest area. You guys remember this band? Yeah, they were a small band Saturday feature. We had them on the podcast maybe twice at that point. Who knows? But yeah, look, they're going to be here. So come and see them, bitch.
That's gonna make it, bitch.
Gotta add that in there. It's been fun, guys. Maybe next year, maybe at the same point, or maybe a little bit early, maybe a little bit later in the year, we can reconnect again, have you on the podcast again, and kind of see where you're at.
That is, yes, that's a must for there, definitely.
Perfect. Well, for everybody in the audience, you can expect Apollo 03 to be our small band Saturday feature on October 12th. That'll be the day after we do the, because every Friday, it's like we do the New Music Friday. So for all the metal fans, it's the day after the Lacuna Coil release. So just so everyone, is on the same page. But awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Go enjoy the rest of your night. And have a drink on me.
We will. Shots.
Yeah, shots. Woo. Better be tequila, though, because that's what I like. I like me my tequila.
Don't worry. We got it, man. Don't worry.
Woo! Alrighty, awesome. Thanks, guys. And as always, have a good night.
You too. Thank you so much. Good night.
All right, thank you. Well, that was Apollo 03, and I gotta say, I love that conversation, especially as we got further into it and we just got rolling. That's what I love about these conversations. We always end up getting on this insane roll, and it always makes me incredibly happy. Well, guys, I really hope Apollo 3 and Total Eclipse end up making it to Milwaukee because they're just absolutely awesome to talk to. Love talking to them. Again, you can catch them as our small band Saturday feature on October 12th. Their latest album is called Abduction. You can find it on Apple Music, you can find it on Spotify. You can find it on all those places. Man, my voice is really going wacky. Kevin, what's going on with you? I don't know. But I'm just in one hell of a mood right now. This was a fantastic podcast. I can't wait to see what Apollo 03 does. And, well, I can't wait to see what you guys think about them when we have them on our Small Band Saturday feature. Or if you listen to them beforehand, shoot me a message. Let me know what you think about them. But on that note, that's going to be our show for today. Maybe let's see what next week holds in store, because next week we have... next week we got a lot of new music talk, but we got Wage Wars, that new album, which I think is going to be an absolute banger, but we'll see what happens. And then the highly anticipated Tool album. Also, a little side note for you guys, my full-time job that I have right now, I put in my 2 weeks. I'm done because I got a different one. Woohoo! We'll see how that turns out. But, of course, you guys can always, that's a little side note. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. As always, this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by My Song of the Day, Rock 2000 to today. You guys know how we end every single show, whether it's a YouTube video, a Instagram live stream, an IGTV video, or the podcast. Well, I can't really do my hat flip with the headphones on, but we'll end it this way. See y'all